There you go. All right, everyone. This is the 23rd episode of the Irish Iron Podcast. Today's guest is none other than CMC Fitness, Cathal McConnell, Class 1 Mr. Ireland. What other shows have you won or placed well in, just to let people know, how long you've been doing it and stuff?
What other shows have I placed in?
That's it.
I think I've placed in all my shows. There was a big gap though when I first competed. Geez, I think it was 2014 was my first show. I competed in the first timers. It was a bit rushed though, but it was a big eye opener for me. After competing at that, I knew I had to really step it up. Like, you don't realize once you start dieting, you're like, this shit is hard. So yeah, I went back to drawing board, start training hard, eating consistently, and Brian Hickey's been my coach since then. I actually haven't had a different coach, so they say if it's not broke, don't fix it. So yeah.
Were you training out of Iron House back then from the very start, like, or?
The first gym I actually joined, hardcore, would have been the old Atlas in Clondalkin, and that was just, I still think about that gym. I think anyone that's trained there would say the same. It was a really good gym, the atmosphere, and I mean all the guys were jacked in it. There wasn't one guy that was not like in shape. So in that kind of atmosphere, you're just like, wow. Um, so yeah, that's where I would have started out in the old Atlas, and yeah, that was a good experience, for good memories actually, great memories there. Made a lot of friends as well.
Yeah, and that's like, would you say now that when that disappeared, like Coliseum is probably, the next gym on from that. Like that would be not the son of it, but you know what I mean? It would be the same kind of crew in there as Atlas.
Yes and no, similar, but it's not as raw as the Atlas was.
Okay.
Like the Atlas, me and Brian would be joking sometimes. He's saying like, if you can rip up the floorboards and take the dust off the floor for chalk, you can you can survive the coronavirus. You know. Um. So, I actually would have liked to compete. That's kind of where I made my mind up. I think I'll eventually compete. In that environment, like I remember Hugo used to train down there as well, and I remember just seeing this dude with like ridiculous legs, veins all down them. I was like, holy fuck, you know.
That was
But
when that's when he won it as well, wasn't it? Like 2012 or something, or was it
yeah,
like
around that stage.
yeah.
I mean, his off season, his legs were ridiculous, veins all down them. I was, I was just in awe, like, and that's kind of what sucked me into it. Then I was like, fuck, that's what I want to do.
And then you
So,
that kind of lit the fire. That lit the fire. So,
mm,
but is that where you met Brian as well? In Atlas?
yeah, that's actually where I met Brian. Would have been the Atlas, um, and then House. He would have set up the House after that.
Yeah.
Him and Boston, between the two of them, were in partnership, and that was a good gym as well. Like it was very raw. It wasn't Atlas, but it was really good. And Coliseum at the moment is where I train at. Um, the only thing I miss is the rawness.
Yeah. I don't think it's like the Coliseum has all the equipment. It has all like there's certain, but it's not the same crew. You have like bodybuilders, and then you have everybody else. Whereas back in the day, it would have just been the hardcore lifters in that kind of gym. Wouldn't have been.
This is like I do miss that, especially when there's guys like I was looking at Hugo, I was looking at Brian, there was other foreign guys. I can't even remember their names, but like these guys were gigantic,
Yeah,
and I was like, you're looking at them. You know what I mean? They've set the bar so high, and it's a good environment to be around. But yeah, I'd say that's one thing the Coliseum is missing. Like, is a couple of hardcore bodybuilders there. I don't think there's much gyms around anymore that has that actually.
no, I mean you'd have no, you're actually bang on. I'm just trying to think. Like the Northern Irish crew have a lot of things up there, but like that's their own little thing they have going on. But down where we are, it's spread. There's hardcore bodybuilders. They just spread out in different gyms. There's not just one gym anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I was listening actually David Fox on with you there a couple of weeks ago. I'd actually love to train in his gym. His gym sounds like what I'm talking about, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
I probably will. I'll go up there. I was actually doing a bit of training with Rado as well.
yeah.
Um, he's
That's up in that gym, isn't it? That's in Dave's gym. Or
Ironworks he trains in, but I think occasionally he does go there. He trains in Enniskillen, but yeah, I might make the trip up there to train there someday.
yeah, because I said I was gonna go, man. I said I was gonna go up to Mark Getty's gym as well. Because him and James Gibson all trained there, so I just want to do a little day, maybe a couple of days up in the north and see what it's like. But you
That'll
know,
be your trip away this year.
yeah. But that like the thing is though, it's like, can we even do that with the lockdown? You know, it's like I would be curious, like, but hopefully I'd say at some point we can. But down here, I mean, what do we have? We have there is certain gyms like Animal Barbell was one, West Side is another.
Yeah.
Trying to think like, but there's like they don't really, they've all kind of died out a little bit or just been bought out and changed. So
Yeah, I was actually that topic had come up with David Fox as well. The same thing. It's dying a little bit. That kind of hardcore bodybuilding, and
what
look,
do you think it is though? Do you think it's like lots of like the younger crew are kind of doing other categories, or do you think it's just lack of discipline? I don't know.
what do I think it is? Uh, I think Instagram fucked everything up. If I'm honest,
Yeah.
um, where do I start? Yeah, I mean, you don't especially. I think some great bodybuilders don't even have a following as much as some of these influencers would, and yeah, I think Instagram is to blame for a lot of it,
Yeah.
and you have guys as well thinking that, oh yeah, I can do this, um, not realizing what it really entails. You know, it's easy to look at someone and go, geez, I want to be that guy, but when it actually comes down to it, it's not all that fun. Like when you know yourself, you're 60s out from the show, you don't want to talk to anyone, you know, you're basically dying on your feet.
Yeah, it's a rough one, man. But talking about Instagram, I just have to say one thing. This is the first sponsored episode. So I have to announce that sponsor. So Elevate Injury Clinic up in Coolock, ran by Dano Murphy. If you are looking for cupping, if anyone listening is looking for cupping, you know, needling, you know, genuine physiotherapy, the man has 4 years plus of a degree experience. Then he went and did, you know, the deep tissue thing as well. And, you know, look, for any listener of the Irish Iron podcast, you get 20% off your first booking. And yeah, that he can be found on Elevate Injury Clinic on Instagram, and give him a text or a message. And yeah, that's the sponsorship plug. And back to the conversation.
Whereabouts is it based actually on?
It,
Whereabouts is it based?
it's up in FBT Cooler. So it's like he has like a little clinic up there. And what happened
Oh,
was I got hooked up because You know Matt Blaze. He's done a few shows with us. He competed last year in the same show as us.
Right.
He's a. What happened was he gets treated by him, and he was like, you know what? I was like, do you know if he'd be interested in maybe doing a deal? And he's like, yeah, I'll get in touch with him. Next thing you know, I sent him a text, and basically what I get out of it, I get free deep tissue and everything. All I have to do is kind of promote him through this, and then you know yourself. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But no, it's good, man, because it's like, you know, at the end of the day, look, it'll get a few more listeners, it'll get him a bit more business, and it'll stop me like avoiding treatment because that was the first thing I've done in 4 years. So like, I just haven't gone.
It's a
It, it,
win-win.
it is, it is. You'd be fairly on top of that. Like you'd be going to Will and stuff and all that, wouldn't you?
Dude,
Yeah.
yeah, like, I mean, I'm 32 now, and I can feel it, like, on my joints and everything. Uh, so Will's a hard man to get down, especially with the COVID and everything. He was off.
Yeah.
So, but I do go to him regularly, yeah. Especially
Hit
around
up,
my hips.
no, hit up Dano, see what the crack is because he's what happened was when I went in, I thought it was going to be trying to find the problem, but it was for me. It was like, what's wrong with you? What do you think's wrong with you? And we'll have a look at that. That was it. So there was no like, come back and we'll look at that bad shoulder. It was come in for the next session and whatever sore that day we'll kind of work on. So, but yeah, no, he treat like Giovanni and he treat Wally, and
That's right.
yeah, so those two guys would probably be the guys you'd be familiar with. I don't really
I,
know his other clients. They're all kind of like do other sports, you know. So
I think big niche there, in the market for
yeah,
guys doing that sort of thing, because you know yourself, you get so many niggles doing bodybuilding. Um, so it's good to have someone to go to just to get all that scar tissue out.
yeah, just prevent the injuries from happening. You know, I mean, have you ever had any bad injuries or anything to come back from?
Um, yeah, like, I kind of ongoing things. My hips are actually off. I got a scan last year, um, an FCE, I think it's called, scan, and my hips are off. So squatting, I've never actually don't squat. Um, it's probably hard to believe, but you can build legs without squatting. Um, so yeah, just part of the reasons my hips are actually off.
Yeah,
So I'm
like
doing like rehab
one foot
exercise.
slower, 1 foot slower than the other kind of situation, or
Say
like,
again?
is it like 1 foot slower than the other foot?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's a pain. It's causing me all sorts of stuff going on with my hip. So I'm doing rehab exercises at the game, but you're going in and wrecking yourself, every week. You're bound to have niggles. I think I tore my meniscus a couple of years ago, my left knee. So it's just part of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I always say like, look, if it's not like a full tear or like if it, you can work around it, you can work around. I mean, Brian tore his pecs and he tore his pec fully and pretty much fully, and he still kept. He didn't stop. He was doing legs and everything, and you know,
yeah.
you can work around it. You know, I mean, even
It's
with
the
Tom,
way.
even with Tommy on his hand, he still did something. So you know,
Yeah, it's the way we're wired, though. Do you know
mm,
what I mean? But it can be a downfall as well. Like, I think as you get older, it's kind of hard to let go of. Like, geez, I'm going to have to give this up sometime. I can't keep pushing things. I think of a couple of years left on myself yet, bro. I have
yeah,
to get that Mr. Ireland title.
yeah. I mean, you came close, but let's talk about that. I mean, I think you competed the year after me. So my first show was 2013, but then I didn't compete again until 2017. So I had a big gap. And then it was
Mm.
2019. So I've only done 3 years, you know. But with yourself, you pretty much, what was it, steadily like kind of every year or every couple of years from 2014 you did shows.
Geez, I'm terrible with the dates. I think I have the trophies there. So it was 2017. Um, I done NABBA and RBBF novice. I think I came third at NABBA. I was actually out conditioned by Rado again. Rado won that, the fucker. And then I come in a week later, actually, at the RBBF on the money. I was really tight. I won that one. And then I think I took 2 years out and then done Classic and Class 1 last year. So, yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting a whole lot from Class 1. I used to look at them guys and go, Jesus, I'll never be able to compete in against them, like, you know. So, look, I was happy to take first place at that, like, you know.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, like, look, at the end of the day, condition wins shows. And, like, NABBA's always been a condition game. Like, I mean, I always thought so. I mean, you always get guys who are just peeled winning. You won't get, like, you won't get a guy who's, like, 4 weeks out and big winning NABBA at all. Like,
No,
I mean, never.
no. They reward condition, and I think they should too, because I mean, it doesn't come easy condition, as you know. Like, I dieted so hard for that show, and I remember thinking at the time, like, fuck, I can't give any more. Like, it's like, but now I was actually only reflecting on it recently, saying, geez, like, Rada was actually tighter on me on the hamstrings. He was tighter.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he has a couple of years on me or what that has to do with it. I'll probably be able to fix that, you know, in another year or two, come in drier and the lower legs. But, you know, condition is king, really, isn't it?
Yeah, see, I can say that from the other end because, like, I kept getting beat by guys who were in better condition. That's what bet me every single time. So I know condition's king because I've yet to reach that level of condition. But, like, with yourself, and there's certain guys like yourself, Brian, Christian, who else? The guy who bet me in the juniors, Colin Lynch,
Mm.
Mark Hodgson. I mean, all those guys are peeled. I knew, like, you were all peeled, like, when you won. So
It's painful though.
yeah.
I mean, you have to suffer. It's the only way. Yeah, Brian was really good. Or Colin, was that his name? He was peeled. Christian looks like he's 6 weeks out all the time. I
Yeah,
think we should get him on here and we can interrogate him a little bit and see what he's doing.
I asked him if he wanted to do it, but he's quite. I don't think he's on the social media at all anymore. I think he's deleted his Instagram again. So he just doesn't. He just comes out of nowhere and just does the show and then walks away and pretty much just comes back bigger and better. And it is motivating to see, but, you know, it's kind of like, fuck. I'm kind of like, geez, it's like, how can he told me he had knee problems because he's so lean all the time. He has no cushioning in his joints, so it's like his training has to change entirely. Like, he wouldn't train like you or me, you know. He wouldn't do what we do. In terms of like he's strong as fuck, but you know what I mean. It's like with like he does Patrick Tuor's training. He does like certain like he wouldn't go like ball. He'd go balls to the walls, but it's controlled. It wouldn't be like pressure on points, you know. So
yeah. Brian is actually trying to teach me that now.
Yeah.
At the moment, he's saying, like, because you know, I like training hard. He's kind of pulling me back. It's like yin and yang. He's like, you know, chill out.
Yeah.
I don't really listen to him often too. Yeah. No, I'd really like to know actually why he wouldn't beef up a little bit, Christian, and just let himself get a little bit untidy, especially if it helped his performance in the gym.
Yeah. I mean, I think he tried to. I think it's just his body doesn't. He was telling me up the weeks before he did the Worlds, and he was eating. No, before the Universe. So after the Ireland, his body went into overdrive, and he was eating like 1,000 grams of carbs a day just to stay full. So I don't think his body wants to get fat. That's the problem, you know.
He's
But
one of the lucky.
yeah, I mean, I wish we could say the same. I love getting a bit. I'm getting a bit fat now, but it's like it's good. You need a bit of cushioning. You need that. I tell my clients all the time. I have one junior, and he's like he's really lean, but he's really strong, and I'm kind of like, you can afford to push the food up as high as we can get because, he's a big guy. He's like your height, you know. So I'm kind of like he needs to gain a bit of weight. You know, it takes time when you're taller as well.
That's something I've always struggled with though, because you're taller, like you've a big frame.
Yeah.
You really, fill yourself out and look full. I always thought I wouldn't be big enough to compete in class one. That's what I thought. Even on the day, I was thinking that, So
Yeah, I mean, like you're a diabetic as well, so I mean, for all listeners, like taking insulin all the time probably isn't cracked up like it's meant to be. You know, when you're dependent on it, like life or death.
um, yeah, especially when you're dieting as well, it can be really problematic because if you, I mean, everything you do during the day impacts your insulin, your sugar levels, your stress that goes up. If you're, I'm sitting down now, but let's say if I was out walking or being active, the sugars are going to drop. So it's kind of very hard to manage that when you're dieting because it's contradictory. You're taking insulin, but you have to keep pulling it back because you're getting leaner and you're getting more sensitive.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's difficult. If I if I could actually offer some advice, I didn't get any questions about the diabetes. No one actually asked me, but sometimes I do get guys asking me. A couple of months back, I had a guy ask me. He said he was getting lows in his sleep and things like that, like really bad lows.
Yeah.
And I just I don't know if it means anything to you, but background insulin. So we
Oh
take
no,
background insulin.
Lantus or something like a long acting,
Yes,
yeah,
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 yeah. There's a long ester works for 12 hours,
okay.
but during my contest prep, I'd have to pull that back.
Oh,
So I'd go off each morning my blood sugars. Let's say they were getting close to 5 or 4 some mornings. I'll have to pull my Lantus back at night, so I'll have it at around 7 before I start my cardio.
okay.
So that's kind of how I manage it. It's like trial and error all the time. It's a fine line.
You want enough blood sugar like in your blood that you can do your cardio and stuff, but you don't want like enough. It's like what was the diet like? Was it like you obviously can't drop all the carbs? So like was it just very low at certain points in the day?
What was the diet like?
Yeah, during the prep, like I mean, with the carbs and stuff, was just
I think I was still on like a decent amount of carbs. I think it was 350 or something I was on. But with the cardio and everything else you throw in there, uh, that 350 like doesn't seem like a lot at
yeah.
all because you're so active.
Not,
Like I think,
it's not a lot though. That's the thing. Like people don't understand. Like when 350, it's like that's like one meal. That's 2 meals. That's it. That's maybe 2 meals of
yeah,
carbs. So
yeah, you're training like an animal. Like, do you know what I mean? So no, it's definitely not a lot, but that's so for anyone listening, like if I could offer my advice on that is the morning blood sugar. That's what I always go off.
mm,
If that's getting high, I probably need to up my level more before I go to bed, my background insulin, or it's getting too close before I start my cardio, or it's getting low in the morning. I need to pull it back. 'Cause that's true. Like some mornings I was cutting it so tight, like I was to do my hour cardio. But I mean, if you're gonna eat, it's contradictory. Like if you're gonna eat carbohydrates and then do your cardio, you know, that's a battle like I always had.
yeah.
Um,
I
but
mean,
kind of,
no, I mean I get it, man. I remember going hypo. I wasn't even touching insulin. It was just going hypo from the diet and stuff. Especially on the stepper, there was a few times where I'd have to step off, take about 15 minutes, and then just get back
yeah,
on and recoup. But
yeah,
like moments like that, that's kind of like that's what guys like yourself would have had to go through all the time. So I'm kind of
Yeah.
like, fuck, I don't, you know what I mean?
But
I'm
this,
just
yeah.
like,
But that's a driver for me. I like it, just fuels my fire because I'm like I cannot slip up. I have to work extra hard. You
what's,
know,
yeah.
that's my take on it.
And look, I mean, there's good diabetic bodybuilders. I mean, you have Ant Bales, you have James Gibson, who's diabetic. You have good few. You have Phil Graham. He was good when he competed. I'm sure there's a few pros out there who are as well, like Ronnie Rocco. But I think he gave it to himself. I don't think he was type
Yeah,
one. I think he gave it
yeah,
to himself. Ant Bales was type one. Ant Bales is type one.
he was.
Mm,
He's actually quite a nice guy as well. There's no arrogance about it. And I actually asked him a couple of questions. It took him about a month to get back to me. It was
yeah,
my first show. I was asking him about Clen. So Clen will spike your blood sugars extremely. Uh, so any diabetics out there want to take that into consideration before taking it. But 6 weeks out, you're so depleted, you kind of get away with it.
yeah.
And I had figured that out for myself at the time. He got back to me. I said, okay, well, I was right. I hit the nail on the head anyway myself. But it was nice to hear from IFBB Pro. You know,
Yeah,
um,
Ant's a big. I saw him in person last year at the finals, at the BCA finals. He's a big boy. Like he's a not big, like he's short like me, but he's just dense. Like he has a lot of muscle.
so thick.
Yeah,
I my body power one year, and I was actually a bit shocked when I seen him because he was like a little pit bull. He was so wide. He was massive.
he has the forearms. He just has the huge forearms. Like, and I bet he's wearing a hoodie with the rolled up sleeves, just big forearms. What was he competing?
I can't remember what he was wearing. I wasn't paying that much attention, but yeah, he was really big. He made me look small, but you know what? I was a lot taller than him, so fuck him.
No,
We're
you
not
know
gonna have
who's
a
impressive? You know who's very impressive? I saw Jamie Johan, the giant. Right?
yes.
I saw him at the finals. I didn't go up to him, but he was so big. He was like 330 pounds. He was huge. And I was just looking at him like, what the fuck? Like, he was like an airplane walking through the crowds because you don't get tall, big bodybuilders like that kind of
That
density.
size.
That density, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, he is a big dude.
mm,
I think he struggles as well though to fill out
yeah,
because he's a big frame, you know. But he has a nice physique, you know.
yeah, nice lines. Like, he has a really good structure. That's the thing. Like, just really wide shoulders and really good quads. So, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I take it you didn't get any questions in from diabetics.
No, but the
Oh,
thing is, like, the problem is with the listeners, right? It's like I'll have them come up in person and they'll say, "Oh, I really like it." So I was actually training in Carlo the other day, and like a few of the guys there listened to it. And I was like, "Yeah, the problem with the bodybuilding crowd is like they're kind of like silent listeners. They'll listen, and I can see they listen on the stats. But so like we're getting a good few listeners. It's just they're not big on the socials, especially the old school guys. They won't do it. But at the end of the day, I kind of just do this because like it is growing, and with the sponsorship, his people will listen to it as well. So we get the questions coming in then. But I had no, the only questions I had would have been like just the general basic ones, like which are kind of they've come up in the conversation already. Like if they were different, I just kind of ask it. You know what I mean? But it's usually just been diet about the diabetic stuff. But I mean, did you know you were diabetic like from the get go? Like were you diagnosed as a kid or were you?
Um, I got diagnosed when I was 17.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, it wasn't a good time to be honest, because the hospital were telling me I couldn't drink, I couldn't do anything, all the things I couldn't do, uh, foods and everything were very bland. Um, just it was yeah, well, it kind of sucked. So I started training a little bit on my own, and you know, investing and interested in bodybuilding. Like, I mean, it's always been there, as you know. I'm sure anyone that bodybuilds, it always catches your eye. So even as a child, I was attracted to, you know, guys with big muscles, things like that. Not in a gay way either, but yeah. So when I started training, then and you know, learning a bit more about nutrition, I kind of realized, well, the foods that are good for my diabetes
Yeah.
is actually good for the gym. So shortly after that, then I actually met Brian. Brian gave me my first meal plan. It was in the Atlas. I don't know if he remembers this, but it was a shit meal plan. But I stuck to it for a while. I got quite lean, but I mean, I wasn't. Don't think I took any gear or anything till I was about 23.
And you
So
trained for 5 years actually, so you
yeah,
dead.
yeah. Even regards gear, like I get a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, I don't know, I don't really care either." But usually people will say, you know, you must be lashing the gear into you or whatever. Um, which is not true. Like people used to say to me before I started taking anything. So
Yeah, I got that when I was 16, 15. So like when I gained a bit of tissue, they were like, all right, like it was I didn't know what juice was. I
mm,
genuinely thought Jay Cutler was natural when I was like 15. I was like, fuck, you must be like just a genetic freak or something. Like, you must be
yeah,
natural. And then, like, I'd say Ronnie was on a little bit, but I used to think Jay was natural for
yeah,
years.
yeah. I used to think that as well, you know, and that's why I always try to say it. Like if someone asks me, like, "Are you natural?" I'll say no. I'm not gonna lie
Yeah,
because I mean, you're giving them false hope. Like really,
yeah. Unless you're like, Giovanni or Blessing or someone like that is just, they're kind of made to do it, you know?
full year round. Yeah,
Yeah. But like,
yeah.
I mean, like in terms of bodybuilders that you've seen in person, like you've been to Body Power. Did you just go to once, or was it like did you go a few years?
Was that body power twice?
Yeah.
Um, uh, Mokhtar actually was working at the at one of the stands one of the years as well. So the first year I went was brilliant. It was, you know, everyone was there. Um,
What year was
all
this?
the say again.
What year was what year did you go the first time?
What year did I go? I think it was 2017. I think 2017 or 16. I
This
can't
would have
remember.
been when it was like short. Like this would have been
Yeah, yeah, it was brilliant. I mean, I was just overwhelmed by all these athletes that were there. I got to meet, you know, Ronnie Coleman. I got to meet Kevin Leveron. Who else was there? Uh, Jose Raymond, the 2-on-2 bodybuilder. He was there. He was actually a really nice guy. Um, and Leveroni was actually a bit funny. I thought.
he's really funny. Did you like his seminar when he came here? It was probably him and Lee. I saw him and Lee did a seminars. Lee Priest and like Lee's kind of quiet. Like he's funny, but he's kind of quiet. Like he won't say stuff unless you ask him. Whereas Kevin was just doing Ronnie impressions and telling stories the whole night. It was before his comeback, so he was still kind of jacked. Like he was had the arms. You could see the triceps coming through the hoodie and everything. I was just like savage. That's like the guy who I have on my phone. I had LeBron on my screensaver for years, like one of his
Yeah,
side guests. I was just like, that's him over there. I was just like shocked. But in body power, I mean, you'd see a lot of guys walking around as well who would now be pros. Like all the British guys are probably always there. Like Luke Sando was probably there, and James
yeah,
Hollingshead and all those guys.
yeah, yeah. I don't know if I seen James. I didn't see him now. I actually seen Al Bales there as well. Um, the Giant I seen as well. I think everyone was there. Flex Lewis was there that year as well. I got to see him. He was just ridiculous. He was probably the freakiest person I'd seen. I remember standing in the queue just looking at his calves like a complete pervert.
He looks like one of them myostatin bulls, you know, just like that's what he looks like. It's just the way his muscle looks. It's like, just don't get it. Like that's genetic though. That's definitely like you can get to that kind of weight, but it won't look like that. So
yeah, that fullness and roundness. He's doing open this year as well, which would be interesting.
Phil's coming back. Phil said he was coming back yesterday. So I'm like, I'm definitely. It'll be a pay-per-view. That's what they've been saying is they'll make it a pay-per-view because there won't be as many people able to watch it in person. So if you have to pay like 40 or 50 quid for it, like I'll probably do it and just have a few people up and stick it on the TV because I watch it every year anyway. Like, but it's shit because it's free. You know the way it's like it's not good quality. So hopefully it'll be better.
I had actually planned to go to it this year.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, it's still kind of in my back of my mind, like, but it's a bit of a dodgy time to go.
Did you get tickets or what did you do?
Yeah, I haven't even thought that far. It's just a thought, like, but it's
next
a bit
year,
dodgy.
I'd want to go next year anyway. I've always said I want to go to one. Like, I'd like to just go to one and see what the whole thing is, you know. Or the Arnold Classic, I've been told, is really good as well.
It's supposed to be unreal, yeah, really good. What was I going to say? So you've no questions for me anyway about the hoping to kind of get some
questions. No, people. The problem is, I'll tell you what happened with the podcast. It's like I think what people have kind of learned. It's kind of like I like to say, it's like Joe Rogan doesn't get questions, but when people just listen, if they're interested, they'll listen. What I've kind of seen is when we talk in a podcast and we mention a name, they'll go back and listen to whoever that person was. So it's like when you mentioned Brian and Dave and all them guys, like then people will actually go back and listen to them. Like I think the most popular one so far has been Conor McGee. I think because he's so good with the social media. Like I think that's why. Because he's always posting shit like with his.
Is that what? Sorry, you said that Connor's done well.
Yeah. Connor's bro. Like he's a bug. Like he just looks like he's just a freak.
That's the other thing though as well. Like Connor's very freaky looking, so that attracts a lot of interest straight away. Like,
Like, I mean, you bet him though. You still managed to beat him. That didn't stop you from winning the title. So.
Yeah. I mean, Connor was off that day. Let's be honest. So,
who
was better on the day. It all comes down to that day, and So.
I mean, who else was in the class? It was you and Lynn Daugus as well, wasn't it? It was Connor. Right? Wasn't it Connor and that other lad, Lynn Daugus? Wasn't he in it?
Yeah, he was really good as well. He was very lean. He looked really good. But I mean, he'll come back better from it. I remember being devastated after my first show at the First Timers, like just heartbroken. And
where did you place? Okay, fine. Are you okay? Not too bad.
And it was actually a tough class as well. I think there was like nearly 20 competitors in it.
Yeah.
But I was good over. I was like, this is all bollocks. But I said to myself, I'm never letting this happen again. And it's good to lose. I think it's you grow from it. You have to lose. I just hope next time I compete that I don't lose. Because it's not time, but look.
I mean, but that's the thing. I tell people this, like in my first show, I came fourth. And it was like you, there was like 20 guys, there was like 21 guys or something. But I was 18, so I was delighted, you know. I was like, oh, deadly. Like I'm the fourth best in the country at something, you know. And then I went to RBBF the next week and came seventh because it was under 23 instead of under 21. And then it was third when I came back. Yeah, I was third at win both shows when I came back. But I kind of knew I was going to be third because it's kind of like, if I get bet, they're just going to be better conditions. So when Colin and Mark Hodson bet me, I was like, fair enough, you know, they were in better condition. And then the next week when Giovanni bet me, I was like, what the fuck? Because I bet him the week before. So I was like, I don't know what happened there, but I think it was the judges. Obviously, it was like me and Mark were quite conditioned because I had gotten leaner and I was dry. I was really dry for the show. But Giovanni was just freaky looking. So I think they just went with that kind of, you know, the freak factor. And then over in the UK, it was fifth. And then when I was working with Christian, the first show was third place, and I was like, all right. And then it was, like you said, it was last, and then it was like last again. But it was like the best look I had was just in the best show. So it was kind of like, what are you going to do, you know?
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Can I ask though, why do you think your condition isn't there? What's, if you're completely honest with yourself?
Oh, I know exactly what it is. I know exactly what it is. What happened was, I was afraid. Christian, you can ask Christian about this, and he would always tell me there was two things. It was like I was going through a breakup as well at the time, so I kind of let that take over. But diet-wise, like it wasn't really an excuse to slip up on the diet because I slipped up on the diet a bit, but it wasn't enough to like ruin it. But I think the initial thing was when I was working with Christian, it worked to about 7 weeks out, and then the condition kind of just stayed the same for like 6 weeks. And I think it was just because my body can actually eat. What happened was when I dieted really hard for PCA and stuff, like second time around, I basically went keto. And it actually worked really well to lose all the like the fat really fast. But I think it was in my own head. I was kind of like, I didn't want to suffer as much because I was like, I'm going to lose my muscle. So I think it was just I didn't want to diet as hard because I thought I was going to lose muscle. And then I didn't lose any muscle. I was actually like, all right, it was just too late. It was just too late. You know what I mean?
I think that's a battle a lot of bodybuilders actually have to have with themselves.
Yeah.
They're competing, like, you know, they think they're going to lose size, and in fairness, you do lose size. You lose a lot of fat as well, but that fat needs to be gone.
Yeah.
And you kind of need to separate yourself from thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to be the juiciest motherfucker up on that stage. But I mean, that's not good if you can't see your definition.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think next time you just need to suck it up.
For sure, man. But the thing is as well, like I'm kind of like in my head as well. Like I've always been within 4 weeks of being peeled. Like I haven't been far off. Like at my best, I was very close. I was very close, and I was like, if we had a bit more time, it would have got there. But I'm also of the opinion that I want to get bigger. So I'm kind of like the heavier I can push up to, obviously the more muscle I'll have. So then I won't be as afraid to suffer because I know I'll put the work in the off season to kind of warrant the suffering, if that makes any sense. You know, it's like if I get up to a certain weight and size that I feel good at, when I suffer, I'll be like, okay, now I know for sure I'll be big and I'll be peeled instead of just being peeled. You know what I mean?
But I was looking at you last time you competed at NABBA. I was looking at you, and I think you were almost there.
It was close. I carved up on, and what happened was I had Tommy look at me 2 days out. Because it wasn't like shredded, I couldn't really carve up. So the initial plan was just to go in, just deplete, and just step on stage, few rice cakes. What happened was I took the Lasix the night of and the morning of. So I was like, and that wasn't his advice. That was me. That was me being me. I was like, I'll just double dose to make sure. And then the water just, by the time I stepped the stage, the water was, I had like 5 kilos of water on me. There was no dryness to me. But
Yeah.
and then the week before, it was kind of like I was dry, but there was no tan. The tan was really, really pale out of season. And the
I think
glaze,
4 more.
uh,
I think if you had it like kind of pull like 4 more weeks, you would have been there.
yeah,
It's a little bit. It's gonna like I remember saying to you on the day, I was like, man, you just need to just be that little bit drier, like and
yeah. It annoyed
um
me. It did annoy me, but at the same time, it's like, who else is to blame but me? Because I was doing my own prep. So I didn't have anyone to look at me until. The problem was, like, when Tommy looked at me the first time, it was about 5 weeks out, and he was like, "Keep on doing what you're doing. You'll be ready." But I kind of stayed the same. So my whole thing is, whenever I prep on my own, it's like those last 5, 6 weeks, I kind of second guess everything a bit. But
yeah, well, that's why I have Brian at my corner because I think you between everything else as well, like work and other things going on in your life, and then you start second guessing yourself because let's face it, like you wake up some mornings and you look like absolute shit, like you're flat, you're skinny,
yeah,
all these things in your head, and you go to the gym and get a pump an hour later and you feel a lot better, and it's a constant battle, like
and especially like but I said, you know what? It's like at the end of the day, when I was working with Briskin, it was like our goal was just to get qualified for the PCA finals. We didn't. He told me after the show the reason I didn't pull you down as much as we could have was because we just wanted to get your qualification for the finals. And then we were going to come and peel for the finals, but obviously I did my own thing. So I was kind of
mm,
like, so obviously the long term plan was coming for the final. I wasn't going to do NABBA, I wasn't going to do PCA here. I was just going to do finals, but I wanted to do both of them just to see where I stood. But I'm working with Niall now. I'm kind of doing my own diet and training, but like Niall Kinston is gonna just make sure I'm where I want to be. Like I'll run everything by him, and then So I'm still doing my own thing. It's just he'll be the guy to tell me to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. On especially when it comes to the prep, it'll be you need to suffer more. You know what I mean? So it won't be a coach.
I think
But
6 weeks out you need to hand someone the reins
yeah,
because even your mind is telling you your mind is telling you to eat all the time, and
yeah.
you're thinking to yourself, oh yeah, I'm allowed to eat this, I can have this, whereas it's not the case, like
Do you
your
mind?
mind is playing games on you.
No, no, you're bang on. And the thing when I was working with Christian, it's like the diet was the thing was we tried to make it nice and varied, so it wasn't like. But the
Mm.
problem was when I got like lean, I was like it was too complex. Like I just didn't want to think about it. I just wanted to eat like basic stuff. So I think with Niall, it's gonna work because in the off season I do my own thing. Like I know how to get big, that's not a problem. Like I know how to gain tissue, that's fine. That's the easy, but that's the fun part. It's the condition part. So I just said, come prep time, Niall, you're the boss.
Mm.
Get me you. So I'm excited. You know,
You have
2020.
to you just have to listen to what he tells you this time.
Oh, for sure. But I think I will because like at the end of the day, I think losing, as you said, losing shows fires you up. It really does, especially when you're not like I tell people this: if I was 100% and I was coming fourth and third, like if I was peeled and coming fourth and third, I probably wouldn't still compete. If that
Yeah,
makes sense, because I'm kind of like I know I can win something. Even a class win would be nice. That's all I'm like. First step first, win a class. That would be the like yourself, and then just take it from there. See what
um,
happens.
have you spoke to anyone about shows now next year? I think it's looked like the end of this year is off.
The end of
So
this year is off, except for the
I think
pros. So obviously the pros and some PCA shows are going ahead, like abroad. But here, no, what I was told was I asked a few of the guys, and it was like, it's spring. It'll be spring 2021, but the spring shows will be really good because like it'll be so packed now. Like I think
Yeah, that's what I'm contemplating doing now myself. Is
you could
spring, like,
do,
because
yeah,
I think everyone is just raring to go, like, at this
yeah.
stage.
I said,
And
I said if I can get to where I want, I'll probably do the PCA Belfast again. Just to, I kind of like the dream is to do all the shows I did last year, but like I said, if I'm not where I want to be, I'll wait until October. So, like either way, it doesn't really. I have a client who's doing spring though, so I said like there's another reason I don't want to do spring is because I want to get him as a junior. And you know the way Dan, you were in the show. Remember like you had NABBA and the guy who won, like he's a friend of mine, but he was natural and he only won because he was shredded because the other guys were so off. And I was like, that shouldn't be happening. It's like the days where juniors come in, like Mark came in healed and he won in RBPF, but and you know what I mean? Like I miss the days when there was like 20 juniors in a class and the guys who won were good juniors. Like you had Crispin was a junior, Shane was a junior.
I remember the first time I competed actually.
Yeah,
So yeah, it was 2014. I
yeah,
was backstage and I was looking at the juniors. I was like, these guys look like grown men.
yeah.
They were ridiculous.
Me
They
too.
were like, it was actually a really hard category. I was like, fuck,
Yeah.
I don't think I'd like to win it, go into that category.
I
It
know
would have got me out.
that year was I think it was Adam Lazaro and he was training in Coliseum, I think then. Or
There was, I remember Mark, I don't know his second name, the powerlifter guy from Limerick. He was competing.
yes, yeah. I remember him. He actually funny story. Um the court show or something, it was either spring or court in 2014. And Mark was 24 years old. This was the first year it went to under 20. It was under 23s in RBBF anyway. He was 24. So you know the way like juniors is actually like up to the year plus or until your birthday. So like you can be 23 and do under 23s as long as like you're not 24 that year kind of thing. But
Mm.
it's like he was 24. He lied about his age and he competed and came fourth. And I was kind of like, Brian was like, he was at Body Power with Brian and the old Blunt Force crew. And he was saying, oh, if I had won that show, if I had come in a little bit later, I would have won the juniors. And Brian was prepping. Apparently just threw down the spoon and said, Mark, you lied about your age and you were fucking bet by a guy who was younger than you. Like, stop bullshitting yourself and everything. He just went at him a little bit. That's what Christian was telling me anyway. But he doesn't compete anymore, Mark. Yeah.
No, he was really good though. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It take the same meaning off it. Like, had you won it and you lied about your age, it would for me anyway.
Yeah.
Um, you
Crazy.
know, but
But but that's the thing, man. It's like I'm kind of like I want to get my client who's a junior, and he has muscle. He comes from powerlifting, so it's like you know what, we're just gonna get him peeled, and I am pretty sure if we get him peeled, he'll at least be top two. You know what I mean? Like there's no question about it because he's pushing, he's training hard, he's listening to everything, and he's like he's getting stronger and bigger. He weighs he's 100 and like I want to get him to like 110. He's like 6 foot. I want to get him to 110. It's already like 101. You know what I mean? Like he's fucking just ballooning up. So I'm kind of like
he's a big lad. Yeah.
big frame. Doesn't have the best shape, but he has like really good quads, really thick chest and back and powerlifting. Just needs a
Mm.
bit more shoulders and arms, you know, and hamstrings. But so we're hitting those twice a week. So I'm just like, it'd be nice because I see all these other juniors and a lot of them like would talk to me and the first thing that's out of their mouth is they're telling me what they're taking and I'm like,
That was something I actually wanted to touch on. Was I never competed as a junior,
yeah,
so I when I was 23, I I was slowly getting introduced to what guys were really doing.
Yeah.
You know, but when I competed the first time, I was looking at, you know, these young guys, and they were absolutely jacked. But they're obviously juicing, but they're so young.
Yeah.
I mean,
On my end anyway, I can say from my experience, I only went on because there was no natural shows. But I had been training for 3 years before I actually touched anything. So as a bodybuilder, man, I went into the gym to bodybuild. It wasn't even a question of. So I was lucky, but I came off after that show for the whole summer. So for pretty much the whole summer of 2014, I was off. 2015 on and off. 2016 on and off. But I'd always come off for like 3 months of the year, 4 months of the year around Christmas, especially when I wasn't competing because I was just pushing the weight up. So I got up to 90 kilos, 94, but I wasn't touching much at all. It was mainly a little bit of test, maybe some Deca and like the occasional Anadrol, but it was literally maybe switch EQ in there, and that was it. That was
that's
it.
a for a junior, like, I think.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah. No.
off 3 months of the year.
Yeah.
Like, your HPD, you haven't recovered, you know.
Yeah.
Your HPD, is that what's called? Access hasn't even, you know. So I know it's good to have a clear out, but I think last year was probably the first year I kind of pushed things. Regards, I think it was only one course a year I used to do.
Yeah.
Limit
Just for
myself to
prep or something, or was it like, did you do something in the off season, like maybe a little bit of test or something?
an off-season course, like, you know, I do, and when I dabbled in it, like,
Okay.
but
No, I'd never
last
pushed in the off season.
year I said, fuck it, like, you know, I'm gonna push things on a little bit and just see how I get on, like.
Yeah. See, I looked at the juniors abroad and I looked at the juniors in the UK, and I was always kind of like, it's fairly obvious that to get to a high level, it's combining genetics. What I found out very fast, was when I was taking a lot, I probably wasn't as strict as I was with my diet, and I was partying a lot as well.
Mm.
But
Mm.
then what happened was, I remember when I put my head down in 2016, 2017. So as I said, 2014, 15, and 2013, I worked for 2013 with Christian. All we did in the off season was literally 500 mixed tests. That was it. That was it. Like, just 500 tests. Came off, went back on, did my own thing. But then it was 2 years where I did take a lot. But when I kind of eased off, focused on the diet and the training. The training was always hard. It was kind of just the diet. So for me, anyway, once the food's really high, you don't need that much gear. It's kind of just enough to let the food do its work. So, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So when you're more consistent is when you made the most progress.
Pretty much, man.
That's
Like,
what you're saying.
pretty much, it's like when everything's on the money. Like even I tell people this. The problem is with the juniors now is they're already running stuff that a seasoned competitor is. So I would talk to a few of them. I'm not friends with them, but they would. It's weird because a lot of them kind of would ask. A few of them would have asked me a few things. I'm not going to name their names while it's recording, just out of respect for them. But I'll tell you when we stop recording. But I had a few of them ask me a few things, and they're like, "Oh, like that say nice things and everything." But then they'll be like, "I take this, this, and this," and I'm like, "Okay, I didn't ask you what you're taking. I don't really. That's not mine. I don't care what you're taking." But then I'm also in my head. You look like you're not a body. For what they're taking, they don't look the way they should look. Does that make sense? It's like they don't look as big as you would think. So.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just like, and they look lean all the time. Like, there's one competitor who he looks peeled all the time, and he's like squatting 200 kilos, 240 kilos, rack knees, but he's not that big. And I'm just like, I remember he stuck up a picture of his gear on his story or something, and I was just like, dude, like, you're gonna burn out. And like, none of the juniors I competed with are competing anymore, except like from 2013. None of them are here anymore. None of them, except Captain Burn. And
What do you think that is?
I think they push the gear too much, and I don't think they have the. I think what happens is they push it so they can't reach their pinnacle, and they look good. They kind of look big and jacked, but then they find it really hard to progress because they've already maxed out their receptors and everything. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to be able to go back down to like 500. Like, you know what I mean? Like, a little bit of test, a little bit of this, and a little, like, you won't be able to go back down after you've really been aggressive. Like, these guys are taking insulin and stuff, man. Like,
Right.
I'm just like, you know, lots
Yeah.
of orals, you know. I didn't take stuff because I didn't have the money. So it was literally a case of just maybe a bottle of test would last me like 6-7 weeks, and then I'd drink a lot of my calories. So it was okay. I could make it work. But now that I'm working in the gym, I'm like, no, I have to be consistent with the food. Like, there's no excuse. I'm allowed to sit down and eat my food, whatever. I have a microwave, and it's the best environment to be in. But these juniors are just nowadays, like, half of them haven't competed either. Like, they're saying they're going to, or they have competed, but Mark Hodson bet them off. And if that tells you anything, that's because Mark has been consistent since 2016. You know?
Yeah, Mark is a sick motherfucker. Yeah.
I love Mark, man. He trains really hard as well. Like, he
He
doesn't.
does actually. I had a session with Mark the start of last year. I think he trained legs
Yeah.
in animal barbell, and yeah, he puts the work in. Similar mindset actually. He trains similar to myself. He loves fucking wrecking himself. So I'd say he's riddled with injuries as well.
Yeah. Mark's like Mark. The thing with Mark though is like he's growing. He just needs to fill out that frame because he doesn't have the shape or the structure really. But he's a tall guy, so once he has that muscle, that's why he won the juniors, was because he has muscle and he was conditioned. So,
Mm.
like, if you're a junior and you have, the thing is, here's what I found out when I was a junior. If you have muscle or conditioning, you'll do well. If you have both, you'll win the show. So I was like the guy who had muscle. So I did okay. I did well. And then you had the guys who were peeled and they won, like, they did well. Then you had the guys who were both and they were just, those would be, so I get it. It's
You're
awesome.
short. You're a short guy. I think if you come in peeled, I think you've muscle there as well. Like,
Yeah.
you just need to bring it in peeled, and you'll be all right.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm like looking at guys like Billy Byrne and everything. Competing with Billy was sick. I love that. That was probably the funnest bit of the season was because you got to go into the overall with him, and
Yeah.
yeah, and he was peeled. He was in good nick.
I only met Billy actually. I think I met Billy in 2017.
Was that the
He was
show?
working at NABBA, yeah, and he was a gent. Like, then I kind of realized after, like, who he was. You know, Billy's been around for a while.
He won everything. That's the thing. Kind of. He was the one guy. Like, his podcast was very interesting. It's like he stepped away before he kind of reached his peak. Like, that's what he said. He stepped away before he reached his full potential, and then
Mm.
he came back obviously with us. And you know, lose to him was grand because I was like, you know what? It's like the way it was gonna go for me anyway. When I was talking to Tommy, you'll either be second. He said to me, like, you'll either be second to Billy or you'll be last in the class. And it was like, obviously things didn't go the way I wanted to with the peak, so I came last, you know. But Billy was probably the friendliest guy there, you know what I mean? Like, on stage, like, he knew how to make
What
on
what does Tommy mean? What does Tommy mean by that? You're either going to be like, that's a big difference. You're going to be second or you're going to be last.
because I was when I was dry, I looked completely different. It was when I held all the water. What happened was, he told me this after the show. He was saying to Niall and whoever else was in the judges panel, he was like, wait until Owen, when they announced my name, was like, oh, watch when this guy comes out, he's really dry. And then I came out and I looked really watery, and he apparently was just like, oh, fuck, what did he do? It's like, I told you, remember the morning of the show, we were there, and I was like, yeah, I popped the Lasix. I'm pretty sure I told you I popped the Lasix.
Mm.
That's what did it for me when I popped the Lasix, and it was just like, it was a repeat loop, obviously, of just fucking. I took Aldactone for PCA. I did that for 4 days up to the show. That worked the best. I loved that. It was really mild as well, so I didn't have to cut my water until I only cut the water the morning of the show for PCA, and it was like I was really dry, like the whole run up. I was delighted, like and then I didn't have to touch any carbs. I didn't touch any carbs until I had like a little burger and a fries, maybe the hour before, and kind of just filled up a little bit. But again, it was just really mild. It wasn't a harsh prep at all, like a harsh peak. You know, I didn't try to force it. I think that was the problem. I kind of took.
I think diuretics should only really be used if you're ready, you know.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I took. I don't know if we should be saying this on this, but I was given 2 diuretics. I don't even know the name of them. I just said, look, they're mild. Just take 2 of them and you'll be grand.
Yeah.
And it done the job.
But you were lean. You were already in condition.
Yeah, I think from the cardio and everything else, and just being on my feet with work, and the lifestyle I live, my legs are really hard to get in, so they just be like a bag of water. Even a couple of days before the show, or even on the day of the show, I remember like the diuretic flushing me out completely, and my legs looking proper dry, you know. So that's something. That's another thing. That's a complete mind fuck for me.
I'd be the same. If for the first 2 years of my competitive career, my legs were really far behind. So it'd be like, as a junior, I have some YouTube still up on the Irish Muscle YouTube is still up of the junior class in NABBA, and my upper body was peeled. Like there was nothing on it. Like it looked really good. Then my legs were like full off season mode, so it was like complete disparity between the two. So that's why I came forward. It was literally just, you can't help that. That's age. I think that's just experience.
Well, funny enough, I don't know if anyone can explain this for me, but my legs now actually have cuts in them in my off season, which I've never had before.
Like the same here. I'm like,
Brian reckons it's like a maturity thing. He thinks once you get down, you know, you never, when you get really lean and then you get them in, the fat kind of stays off them. Yeah. I don't know how it works, but they still look, you know, they have cuts in them in off season.
You and me both, man. I'm like, I'd flex my quads, and like the teardrops would have you know, the little striations in them, like when you flex and stuff. And I'm like, I was looking at them yesterday, and I was just like, that's really weird. I'm like, this is the first off season where but I think the reason was because during the lockdown, I was doing like 2 hours of cardio a day. I was going on hill walks most days, every day, twice a day. So the condition actually never it actually got really good over the lockdown. I was actually quite lean. And then I think it kind of just balanced out the body parts or something. I don't know. But
I think keep it tidy, like in your off season, don't get too fat. He's already getting fat, but like that was past the point. I think I'm just on that line now. If I get any fat, I can just look. I'm about to reel it in soon anyway. Where were you training during your lockdown?
My shed. I had bands. I did it for about a month. Kind of gave up and stopped altogether because, like, for the first like 2 weeks, got great pumps and everything, but then I didn't get anything. So what I kind of used it for was I did pull-ups and stuff. So with my back, as kind of like with my legs, I've always been able to get really good like results from training legs. Like I like that's not been a problem for me. My problem areas would be lat, my lat width, my chest. So I'm like, all I did during the lockdown was kind of focus on horizontal pulling.
Mm.
A lot of like flies. So by the time I got back training, I started a week before everybody else because I got the job, but I was just doing lots of movements on my weak areas. So when
Mm.
I started training back, kind of everything's kind of balanced. It's balanced out. It started to balance out. So like my back looks different. My like completely the shape of it's kind of different now. I'm like, that's pretty cool. Like not necessarily bigger because the weight has yet to come back, but it has a different kind of shape.
Yeah, you have a nice shape on it, some details
Yeah, yeah,
working.
that's it. I mean, you had like your little setup with the weights and the bars and the rack and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'd lose my mind had I not like that's my quiet hour. It's not
Where
so
did
quiet. I
where
call it my quiet hour.
where'd you get
Say
them
again.
from? Did you borrow them from the gym or?
The barbell I had to order actually off Apollo Fitness, but
Yeah,
then the weights I just had to kind of get plates here and there off Done Deal. It was quite a job actually. Like people are charging ridiculous money for plates at the moment. Um, so I end up getting it up to 200 kg,
yeah,
200 kg, yeah, in plates. So I was still able to train, but again, my legs lost a bit of size um, because I can't squat properly. So, but
yeah.
look, it's better.
You were able to train your back and your upper body and everything as best as you could. Or yeah,
My upper body was actually growing
yeah,
because I was able to put an emphasis on it. And you know what, my upper body actually needed to come up a bit. Anyway, my legs were actually starting to overpower my upper body. So where I'm at now at the moment, I want to bring my arms up, which is nice because arms I never trained before, I put emphasis on. So now it's like, it's not the same as training legs. Like to bring your legs up, right, I have a lot of work to do. Bring arms up, it's kind of,
arms is literally just. I don't go heavy on them, but I do a good bit. It's the only body I go heavy, but it would be like more reps. It wouldn't
yeah,
be like 6 to 8 reps like I would do for legs or upper
legs, yeah.
body. It would be maybe 12 to 15. I don't know.
I must, I must thank actually David Fox for that show on he was speaking about his back workouts.
Yeah,
And he was saying he used to hit 22 to 24 sets on a back workout. And I said one of the days, fuck it, I'm gonna give this a go, like out the back. And sure enough, I really felt it. Like it's just a sweet spot. 22 to 24 sets for back, and
I
you'd
used
be
to
sore
do.
the next day.
I used to do like. I know I genuinely used to do like that kind of volume. It just took a lot out of me, but like when you did do it right, you get like you work at the gym and you're giving it all you got. But the I think legs. I think can handle volume. I tell people this: like legs are made for volume. You're using them all the time, every day. You're walking, you're sitting, you're crouching. You're using your legs all the time. So the volume, even when you're going heavy, the volume should still be more than
Like,
like yeah.
yeah, heavy with high volume. That's how legs have to be trained.
That's
It's
it.
disgusting.
Love it's like I tell people this like you said, you don't necessarily have to squat to get a big pair of legs. Like I definitely didn't use it as my main exercise, but I managed to fix my squat. Like I always had a good squat, but the reason why my squat was never as good as it could be, like comfortable wise, just was because my back certain muscles in my back weren't as strong. So like my legs could push the weight, no problem. But then I, cave over or something or whatever.
Oh,
But
yeah,
now,
your core.
yeah, but now I squat less like a power lifter, and I've kind of changed it. So I'm a lot more upright,
Mm,
but I can squat. It's all on my legs now, so I'm like, deadly. I actually like doing squats again, just because I do feel it. But
mm.
like, you don't have to do them. I mean, a good leg press, good hack. Maybe like a Smith machine. If you have a Smith machine, you can do lots in the Smith. And
Yeah, that's something. That's something I do is the Smith machine squats,
yeah,
Bulgarian split squats,
yeah.
leg press. That's what I built my legs on. Hack squat.
And
You
then
know,
obviously hamstrings would be stiff legs and flying curls and this that kind of stuff. But
the standard shit. Yeah. One I'm actually enjoying at the moment is the dumbbell leg curl. You know, lying down, really isolate them.
you need a
So,
person there though. You need a training partner for that kind of stuff.
do yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So, that's I'm kind of obsessing over the hamstrings at the moment.
you know.
That's something Rado taught me. I'll be back with bigger hamstrings and more detail.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like he's I didn't actually know who Rado was before this year. Uh,
Mm,
he kind of sticks to himself. Like I didn't
He's,
know who,
yeah, he's quiet. Yeah,
but
yeah.
who else? Like I was kind of like I knew it was gonna be like going into it like the bodybuilders. I knew it would be like obviously yourself, Connor, and then like Brian Carey. I always kind of knew him just because like, he was always just big and like
Yeah,
really strong.
yeah,
Yeah. I was kind of like, I wanted to compete against Brian. I wanted to like see where I stood up, but it's fucking good I didn't because like if I was as off as I was and he was peeled, I would have looked so bad. Like I would have looked so bad for something. So I'm just
Which,
like
which Brian are you talking about?
Hickey, because me and Brian, like
Oh,
I thought he was gonna do one of the shows,
mm,
and then but no, he didn't. So it's like, but no, Brian, like I mean, who else? Brian Ward. He's another Brian who's good. He's lean. He's peeled.
yeah, yeah. Did him and Brian to be going back and forward? Between like it's between them two, but I'm gonna stir it up a bit and tell them I'm gonna smoke the two of them. So,
Yeah. But
tell,
this, the like the thing is, it's like it'll be. I just hope we can watch them. That's all. I just want to be. I think at that point though, like I mean, it'll be next summer. It'll be like next May, April. I think at that point, hopefully, it'll be kind of phased out a little bit that we can. But
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, look, I think fingers crossed that spring will go ahead.
yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't committed to anything yet myself. I'm always trying and like to step on stage. I just don't know when.
I mean, how
You
long
know,
did you diet for? Like 10 weeks, 12 weeks, or something?
how long would I?
Yeah, okay.
I think every prep is different, isn't it? Like I usually do 16, start
Yeah,
tidying things up, just slowly like ease into it. Like funny enough, even though I'm on a diet, I grow in a prep because I'm taking gear and everything else. You know, anytime I've come off a prep, I've always been bigger.
yeah,
You know, so um, I think it was 14 weeks anyway. I know for novice. I think I done 16 um the year before that, and then my last show was about the same, about 14 weeks. But I had to tidy up. Brian
yeah,
likes to keep Brian likes to keep things tidy. You
yeah,
know, and he doesn't like. You probably know by looking at him, like he's always lean. You know, doesn't get too messy. So by the time a diet rolls around, you can just kind of cruise into the show. I probably suffer for the last 6 weeks.
yeah. I mean, I'm kind of like, the problem was in my head. I did 17 weeks. I think it was too long. I kind of lost focus. As I said, I did quite well up until like 6 weeks out. So I think
Yeah,
what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do like a 12-week one, but I'm just going to fucking suffer. really hard, but I'm not going to be out of shape going into it. So I'm not going to be like really fat going into it. I'll be within reach because I'm leaner already now than when I started prep last time. Like with the lower body, as long as the lower body's in, I'm fine. So I'm kind of like, I'll just do 12, 14 weeks, just really hard, just keto or something, just see what happens.
I think that's a key word you said there, though. Just
Yeah,
stay within reach.
yeah,
Just stay within striking distance because you don't have a far push then to get across the line.
yeah. I mean, that's it. You don't want to be so far like out of shape that you need 17, 18 weeks. Um, like, like I tell people this, you want to kind of be within, depends how tall you are as well, but I'd say 15 kilos within prep, maybe within stage weight, 15, 16. Or how would you be?
I would say that's too high, but that's for me personally. Yeah, that's way too
Like, I
high.
mean, how far off would you diet down? Like,
I think I'm the moment I'm only 8 kg over my stage weight.
okay, okay, yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, no, I think guys get too fat. I do.
yeah. See,
You know,
in my head, I can drop 10 kilos really fast. Like, the initial weight drop for me is really fast. So I've no problem getting down to very close to it. So that's why I say 15 kilos because I can just tell. And also I'm also naturally lean, so I actually kind of find it hard to get beyond that. I don't think I could get really, really fat if I wanted to, and it just wouldn't let me do it. I'd always have some condition somewhere.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I mean, I've never not had abs. Even during the off season, I've always had like the midsection.
yeah,
Like when it's flexed, like obviously when it's not flexed, it's gonna be like sticking out and stuff. But like the abs are there when you flex them and stuff. That's what you want to stay at. You don't want to lose the midsection, I think.
yeah. Well, yeah, that's kind of where I gauge it as well. On my legs now, my legs start going to look like a bag of shit. Like I just say, oh look, it's time to pull things back. Or the middle line down the center of your abs. Once
Yeah,
that starts to fade away, right, it's time to fucking reel things in and stop
yeah,
being the
yeah.
fat bastard.
I've been there. I remember I've been there. I remember during the peak of the last off season, uh, 2018. I remember like I had big neck rolls on the back of my neck because my traps were kind of growing. And I was kind of like, there's just all the fucking rolls on my neck. And I was just like, fuck me. I was a bit chunky back then. Like it was, but it wasn't like, it was all water weight. A lot of people don't realize like bodybuilders aren't necessarily fat in the off season. It's actually would be
Water.
quite lean. Would be
Yeah,
quite
for
lean.
taking care, you will have a lot of water as well,
Yeah,
especially with all the carbohydrates and everything, and then estrogen as well. If you're taking care, your estrogen's going to be a little higher in an off season,
yeah,
and you're going to be full of water. It's good. It's great for training though. I mean, if you're trying to beat numbers or anything like that, like you're really strong.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, I always tell people this, like when you have a bit of fluid in the joints and stuff like that, you're more secure. I'm sure you notice when you get lean, you don't have stability. Like you'd be doing certain movements and you need to wear that belt or you need to be a bit more careful just for safety's sake more than anything.
yeah, yeah. Um, well, you generally what I do is on my off season, I try to get big numbers, but then when I come into a show and I'm taking gear and everything else, I try to keep them the same. So even
Yeah,
though I'm on a diet, I still try to keep them numbers the same. But you're in new territory then, like that you haven't been in before. You're lifting numbers that you weren't hitting before, and you're in a diet. That's my mindset how I go about it. And
yeah,
Brian doesn't help me for it though. Like he thinks to fucking concentrate too much on numbers, but I mean,
yeah. I never write anything down. I never write anything down, but
good.
I do it. I do it in my head, but that's the thing. I've always been like there's certain movements right now where the strength is going up really fast, but I'm not as like I'm just waiting to push the food really hard. So I'm expecting a big jump in body weight. Hopefully by Christmas I'll be a lot bigger, but it's the numbers that are going up that's encouraging. So you're absolutely right. Like even I tell young guys this, my clients this. I tell them I'm training one guy. He's a performance guy. He does American football here. So it's like I said, you don't. We're not training him for physique. We're just focusing on performance. So obviously he's recording all his main sets and everything like that. And trying to beat it as we go. Maybe a deload phase or something back then. We do a deload once those numbers kind of don't go up as periodically. But with ourselves, like, did you find like with your own training, just writing it down, it keeps you accountable for your training?
100%. I think that's what everyone should do. Write it down. If you're not writing it down, like, and you're going into next week, you're going, geez, what did I lift last week, and you can't remember.
Yeah.
Like, and you say, I'll just do 10 today, and you've probably done, 11 last week. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And once you start doing that, you realize your workouts are so much harder because they're progressively getting harder. You're adding more weight, you're adding more reps every time.
Yeah.
And like, I was doing it consistently during lockdown.
Yeah. So you kept on top of it the whole time.
But after a while, like, your workouts becomes just so fatigued, like so tiring from progressing all the time. You can't keep progressing. Like, there comes a time you have to go, all right, look, we'll move on to something else to start a new program. So
Yeah.
I'm on a new program at the moment, but it was tired. I mean, I was fucked. I was fucked after training.
Yeah. I mean, look, during I actually think during prep you recover better because like in my head, I was able to train multiple times a day during prep. But then during the off season, because the weights being used was so much heavier. Like I mean, during prep it would be heavy, but there were certain movements I just couldn't do. Like I wouldn't do a 3 bar squat as much because I wouldn't have the stability once the weights.
You would.
I wouldn't do like I wouldn't squat during preps when my waist came down. I don't have
Yeah,
stability. Like
yeah.
but and then there would be certain movements like but apart from that, like I mean, yeah, it's a weird one because I think
I don't know if I agree with that though. Shying away from squats during prep.
yeah. I mean, I always liked doing them. I just wouldn't go as heavy. I
I
kind of backed off.
if you can squat like well, you should be doing them. Everyone should do them. Like, who do you know that has a good squat with shit legs?
Yeah.
Oh, anyone that with shit legs that squats well? I
Yeah,
don't. I
see,
don't.
there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys who have really bad legs, and they know the squat. And I'm like, that's like, it's powerlifting. It's powerlifting movement. It's like they do it like a powerlifter, but like it's like me with deadlifts, man. I don't do deadlifts off the floor because it is like a squat for me with my levers. But then you get guys like who have a really good like long arms, maybe longer legs, so you're in a good position to do a deadlift in a bodybuilding sense. It's like stiff leg deads. You probably do it as much, if not more, for development anyway. But I mean, I think it's about finding what works for the individual. But I think if you're capable of doing a movement and it benefits you, just do it until like it doesn't benefit you. In my head,
Yeah, well, each individual has like, they have different movement patterns, different mechanics, different exercises will hit their physique different to another person's. Um,
like I mean, would
that's all.
you do a lot of pressing? Like you've always been a good presser. Like you'd be doing.
Yes,
So I mean, that would be like for you. That'd probably be your bread and butter. And then like in my head, like for myself, my bread and butter is like I can do legs. Like the legs would be my bread and butter because I have short legs, so I can hop on a leg presser or machine, or even squat, and I can do like pound out the reps and everything. But and then you get like someone like Mark, who's a really good like he's quite good at the pressing as well. I don't know. I mean, you get certain guys who are just. Brian's always had that back. He's always like, I remember he used to pull ridiculous numbers off the floor when he was at his peak.
Yeah, I think, you know what, I think Brian's a good athlete all around. Like his squat, like I just get squat envy looking at him. Like his squat comes so easy. Same with Brian Kerry actually. Brian Kerry, I watch his squats, so fluid to watch. I was just like, you bastard. You know, I
Oh
get
no,
jealous with
my squats don't look like that. Like I'm looking at Brian, and I'm like, yeah, why don't my squats look like his squats?
like,
Like I can push, like I can do it my own way. Don't get me wrong, I love doing it, but that's stupid way. That's like there's not many guys here doing that. I think he's the only Irish guy who's doing that kind of squats. And then you have Christian, who used to push ridiculous weights. Remember, he put up those videos, and it'd be like 12 plates aside on the hack squat, you know?
yeah,
So, like, I used to train when I was training next to Christian. I had to keep up. So the way we would do it was like we'd have the band on it. So obviously at the bottom of the movement, there wouldn't be any pressure on your knees. But
yeah,
I'd say once you have to push, you'd probably do 2 plates over your max without it. That's what I always said. So
yeah,
like,
yeah.
well, he was doing 12. I mean, I had to keep up. I could do 7 or 8, but like, I mean, that was on that one piece of kit. And you know, when you're forced to keep up with somebody who's training on that level, like it makes you a better athlete as well. So I mean, when you were training with Brian and Brian was coaching you, did you find that probably helped you get where you are now in terms of your physique?
Um, that's a tough question, actually. Like my intensity's always there. I'm going into training. I'm there to train. Like I don't like talking.
Yeah,
But regards leg training, yes, it would. I think, and I also think Brian benefited from it when he was training with me. Both of us have because we're both pushing each other.
yeah,
Um, if you were training, if you think about it for yourself, if you were training consistently with one of your pals for a full year and you're hammering your legs every week, you know, after that year, have a guess how your legs are going to look.
yeah,
They would have improved, obviously, you know. So, um,
yeah.
yeah,
No, I
I
agree.
would.
I
I
agree.
owe some of my gains. It kills me to say it, but I owe some of my gains to Brian. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. No, I always tell people this. There's certain movements, there's certain days I like to train with people. And that's usually push day, like chest day for me, because that's my weak body part. So I always like having that reassurance of having a spot, maybe just getting out a few extra reps. Whereas with like back and legs, we can do those all day on my own. That's never been a problem. And
yeah,
you know, so it's like certain days I like training with people just to
yeah,
push. But that would really be it. I mean, I don't really focus too much on you know, if I don't have a training partner there, I'm not going to complain. I'll still do it. But there's certain days during prep you need a push. I found during prep, you know, the way most people like doing their own thing during prep. I'm kind of like I'd rather have someone to train with as much as I can during a prep because it'll make me stay strong. Like it'll force
yeah, 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 yeah. So someone to give you that extra kick in the ass.
me. Yeah, pretty much.
Um, there was 1 or 2 days, yeah, where I needed that myself. I must give Brian a shout out as well for Amino Smart because I don't know if you know Brian owns Amino Smart,
Yeah,
but he's the worst person for advertising it.
so
I
bad.
bet and he didn't even advertise it. So I'm going to do it for him. Anyone that's listening, uh, jump on Amino Smart.
Yeah, I had to ask him about it in the podcast. I had to ask him about it. So you own your own supplement company, right? yeah, I do. It's like, you know, you promote it. I'm just like, it's not bad stuff. You just need to promote the shit out of it. And
It's
it's,
brilliant. I was actually taking it when it was owned by someone else.
yeah,
Brian took it over. He asked me if I wanted, to help him out, like, promoting it, and you kind of give me supplements or whatever. So it's actually they're good products. I don't know if he's just being modest, and he's like, you know, yeah, I don't know if it's a modest thing. He doesn't want to come across as a prick, like going the best shit in the world.
but I think it's great. Like, I mean, look, I told him this, as long as he has a pre-workout that's like not like crazy on the stims, like more of a pump, that's what I kind of go for. And he told me it's fairly good like that. Like, it's not mad, like, it won't get you wired.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Break it out on a leg day.
yeah.
Take two
Good
scoops.
job, like, savage, savage. No, because Christian, I remember Christian when I was working with him, I'd always pick him up. So over the course of a couple of years, pretty much, and I remember he gave me like a few tubs of pre-workout, and he just throw them my way, like, free or whatever. I'd never actually buy any myself. It's never been my thing. Like, I've never been keen on them, to be honest. But I remember like my tolerance went like literally within the week. I could take one scoop, and then by the end of the week, I'd be on like three scoops just for a serving, and I'd just be like, for
You're
fuck's
building the tolerance.
sake. Yeah. That's why I don't
Yeah,
use it, man, because it's like I don't like being reliant on something like that. Like, usually if I'm in the gym, I like being in the moment as well. I really like being there and not sweating and fucking like wanting to do something else. But I'd always like, if I had something that would increase the pump, it's maybe a good intra workout, like a good intra carb, and then maybe some niacin or something like that. I don't know, but I wouldn't fuss about it. I wouldn't really. In prep, it's a different story. You need to freeze during prep, I think. In the off
please.
season, in the off season,
Um,
no, but in my head,
yeah. I mean, pre-workout I'll only take on leg day.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I mean, if you take pre-workout late in the day, do you ever wake up the next morning? I think
I
your
wouldn't go to
CNS.
sleep. I wouldn't go to sleep. I wouldn't. I wouldn't be able to sleep with a pre-workout. Like, you'd be physically tired and you want it, but just mind is racing. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like I might smoke a joint or something, and that would, you know,
Put you out.
put me out. But like, I mean, the problem is during prep, I try to steer away from the joints because we get hungry, and like,
Mm.
there's the not. I don't like during prep. I'm sure would you find it hard to sleep? Or would you like be okay during prep?
What? Sorry, yeah. Would I find it hard to sleep when I'm on prep? Is that what you said?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Right. So, I don't know if you know, but I'm quite busy with work
yeah.
and outside the gym. So, if I wasn't in bed by, like, 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night when I was on prep, like, my whole week is nearly fucked up
Gotcha.
because I'm up at 5 the next morning to do an hour cardio and then have my breakfast and go to work,
Yeah,
train, and probably get home about 7:30.
yeah.
Could I sleep? No, I couldn't. So when I was about 6 weeks out, uh, here's a little secret. I'm sure I'll tell him. I actually got sleeping tablets to help me sleep because I could not sleep. So
And then
you
obviously
there on?
it was just for the 6 weeks or whatever, and then you just came off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, once you start introducing, I think for the first week, I had my food was the same, but I just took a cardio, and even that alone, kind of decreased my hunger, and I was able to sleep again. It was just the lack of calories. Your body won't turn off.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah,
It doesn't want. Wake up, eat.
for sure, for sure. No, I mean, I'd be the same. I never got the sleeping tablets, but I'd have a little bit of split from them. I'd knock myself out. and go to bed, usually it'd be grand. But like the problem was some of the times I'd be overly hungry. So the sleeping tablets, I've been told, aren't a bad shout. Like it knocks you out. So I suppose like at the end of the day, if it comes to that stage, that's probably a good option. But
I mean, because like, look, that's just something I don't. I don't recommend anyone do it. Like they need to figure that out for themselves. But I think I was only taking half a sleeping tablet. Like so, because I
nothing.
was so tired, like physically tired. Once I took that, like I think within 10 minutes, like 15 minutes, I could feel myself. I'd be in the shower and I'm right. It's time for bed. But
Yeah,
that's an important part of recovery. If you're not sleeping, and you're just running yourself into the ground, your workouts aren't going to be as productive either.
yeah.
So,
No, I agree 100% with you there. I'd be of the same mindset, you know. Like take care of the recovery and the sleep, and everything else will follow. Your hunger will be good. Like I mean, I think when I'm tired, definitely not hungry. I mean, during the off season anyway, if I'm rested, I wake up hungry. But if I don't get a good night's sleep, I'm not. So I'm kind of like, but I'd sleep fairly well during the off season, no problem anyway. So
yeah, you're full of calories.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We should look, man.
Um,
We're coming up on close to like 2 hours. So what I'm gonna do, we'll end it here. But is there any people you want to shout out apart from Brian, or is it just Brian and Amino, or you have any?
any people I want to shout out? Geez, I have a long list here. No, Coliseum Gym, of course. They put up with all our antics down there because we're probably not the most quietest people to be training. Once we get into things, um, Brian obviously, and Amina Smart.
Deadly, deadly. Well, look, it was a delight having you on, and I'll have it up probably tonight at some point. And for anyone listening, you can be found, Kat can be found, what is it, CMC Fitness on Instagram. If you have any questions, that's the handle, isn't it?
Yeah, CMC Fitness. Yeah,
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 definitely. Well, look, love it and leave it for anyone listening. Tune in to the next episode of Irish Iron and share this one around. Subscribe to the channel. I know bodybuilders, I've said this before, I'll say it again. A lot of the bodybuilders, and you said it there earlier, are so bad with self promotion of anything. So it's like like they love listening to stuff and they love reading and they love watching the videos, but it's old school mentality now. I think I think this is picking up, so I'm not too annoyed. Like it's getting more the amount of that, and it's tying up into things quite well. And I have a few people coming on who are unexpected, like not in the bodybuilding scene. They're like coaches and stuff. So I think
and
that could kind of reach out a little bit more as well, and then people will listen to you guys because of that. So we'll see what happens. But I'll leave it
yeah.
at that. And yeah,
Even if anyone wants to ask any questions, like you said, if they're shy to ask questions, that's how you learn. So if anyone wants to shoot me a DM or anything like that, I'm only happy to help
maybe,
and share some advice. So.
maybe. I love that. Will be it.